This is the most important WrestleMania of all time. A WrestleMania that I think will get legitimate mainstream play. They will be memeing about it late Sunday night, early Monday morning. But this is really cool. A WrestleMania with a lot at stake, celebrity involvement, and just, pure awesomeness. Ryan Page, AJ the Man Fernandez is here. Gentlemen, how are we feeling about WrestleMania 38? Do we realize that this is the most important WrestleMania of all time?
All time. And I barely know half the matches.
should be stupendous, especially if you haven't watched this week's Raw.
I was gonna say, before this week's Raw, I don't even know if my boy Rollins even had a match.
So, yes.
Yeah,
Jeez,
thank God, right?
I wonder what's gonna happen. Oh man.
Actually, I have something to say about that, but we'll get to it. I'm sure
to that part of the
predictions.
All right, cool. Well, like I said, we're here going each match by match. We're gonna go match by match, talk about all the historical significance that's on the line, the pizzazz and the meme culture, and we'll take it from there. And then don't forget to tune in on Tuesday to see our reactions from the big night as well. So from AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas, WrestleMania 38. And let's start with the biggest match of all. It is literally taglined as the biggest WrestleMania match of all time. Forget the Taker and Shawn Michaels and the Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, Stone Cold and The Rock. No, it took the 38th edition of this event to have the most important WrestleMania match of all time. Simply put, you have Universal Champion Roman Reigns going up against the WWE Champion Brock Lesnar. Winner takes all match to unify the titles. And I think for now, the title will be the WWE. What do we know? What is the official name? Did they say the official name of the title? I thought they were hinting at it.
No, I mean, historically, when they've done this, they've done it a couple of ways. Usually it's with the WWE and the World Heavyweight title, and they often then call it the WWE World Heavyweight title. Typically, they don't get rid of the WWE title moniker because, WWE is the name of their company. However, both of these championships do already say WWE. So it could go either way. So I'm leaning toward them just calling it the WWE title.
Again, yeah, I'm feeling the same way. Yeah,
but
I think WWE Championship.
But in this particular case, it could go WWE Universal title just because they both do say the name of the company. Whereas every other time this has happened, only one of the championships said the name of the company in its name. So that's why they always went with WWE. So I don't actually know what they're going to call it. They often have the winner. They just call it that title. So yeah, usually when this happens, the WWE champion wins the match. And they call it the WWE Championship after that. I don't know if they're going to do that this time. I doubt it. So those are two kind of historical things I've noticed. Usually the WWE champion wins, so they can keep the title that the person who won was holding. And usually it's the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but the World Heavyweight title is already merged with the WWE title at this point. So I don't know what they're going to call it.
It's just like a cell. It just keeps absorbing world titles. So red versus blue will make the black title again. But bottom line, this really is a significant match. Lesnar Reigns. This is the third time we've seen this rivalry take it to the main event. I think the build for this match is actually pretty entertaining, and including the Raw you were talking about. Both guys made promos on Raw, and various things on the line. I think is just the dominance of these two superstars, and Reigns is on a 500+ day undefeated streak. That's a lot that goes.
That's insane. Yeah, he's on fire recently.
Yeah, but I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts. How you feeling about this match? Before you give me the actual prediction on who you think will actually win, how do you feel about this match in general? Are you feeling the buzz about this, the biggest WrestleMania match of all time?
Who wants to go?
I'm half and half about it. Yeah, I'm half and half about it, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like we've seen this match like 6 times already, right? So
Most
like,
of them at WrestleMania.
yeah, like I feel like all of them have been at WrestleMania. And I feel like I'm just all right. Another one of these is going down. But it is also cool to see champion versus champion. I'm always kind of excited for that kind of match. But I don't know. Ryan, how do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this a gazillion times. And that's okay, because just because I've seen it a bunch doesn't mean that others have seen it a bunch. In fairness,
The new fans,
right? There are new fans. As much as it's hard to believe, sometimes there are new fans. And so it is probably the biggest match they could do. The 2 biggest stars in their company, like probably no, not even. I can't even think of anyone who would really be close, besides maybe Edge, but that just literally happened last year. So, I think that this is definitely the biggest match they can do. I worry about the whole unified title deal. I don't know how they're going to keep the titles unified. They are owned by 2 different people or 2 different networks. And there's no way that Fox and or NBC is going to want to lose a world title. They want to be able to market their own people. So I worry that they're going to immediately destroy the stakes that they've created by reintroducing a new title or an old title from the past and being like, and now this is the Raw title. And I mean, I'm hopeful that they don't. I personally like having the brand split with 2 different world champions, the whole 9 yards. It's not usually done well, but it has the potential to get more people on television. And I'd rather they have the potential and squander it than completely write it out of their books entirely. But I don't know. I'm just nervous that because that's the problem for me. That's the big stakes in the match. Again, if you're a new fan, then yes, this is 2 people who are clearly at the very top going against one another. And that's really all you need to be sold on this. If you've seen this before, like I know I have and Matt has and AJ has, then yeah, I guess the Paul Heyman thing might be kind of interesting, but not really. I think
the winner gets Paul Heyman.
Custody of Paul Heyman ladder match. But that's not like they've kind of already finished that. Paul Heyman has basically turned on everybody twice or 3 times now, basically. So we know what's going to happen. He's going to turn on whoever loses, and that's just that. He's going to be with whoever wins, and that's just who Paul Heyman is. And so that's not really all that interesting. And then if they get rid of this whole title split, especially if they do it literally the Raw after Mania, and I could totally see them doing it the Raw after Mania, then there was no point to the match. So hopefully they don't do that. But in terms of like the actual like match, it should be very good. Their matches have actually all been very good, even when everybody hated both of them. They've done this match where everyone hated both people. So it is nice that, everyone genuinely likes both Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. You know what I mean by likes. I know they boo Roman Reigns. He's the bad guy, but everyone seems to be entertained by both of these people right now.
Right. Cowboy Lesnar.
Right. Cowboy Lesnar and Thanos. Yeah. Thanos Reigns and Cowboy Lesnar.
Acknowledge me.
And we've seen this match where everybody hated both of them. So at the very minimum, the crowd will be into it. And even when they were both hated, they put on a good match. So it'll be good to watch. I'm worried about, I'm interested in this whole championship unification thing. And if they ununify it immediately or come up with some weird finish where the title doesn't get unified, then I feel like that would be very disappointing. And I'm just worried because I could totally see it happening. But I do think the wrestling will be good.
Definitely. Now, in terms of who do you think could actually come out on top with this? For me, I think Roman Reigns should get the honors and Lesnar do the honors for him. I think this obviously solidifies his God mode that he proclaims, but it solidifies a legit. I mean, it's hard to say legendary. He's really been on the main scene for 5 years, but I mean, he really will make his mark. This will be a real shining star and finally beating someone he's lost twice to in this main event scenario. Well, technically once, but you know what I mean. He has had a hard time beating him. I think if you give it to Lesnar, who's won everything, I mean, he took the streak away from The Undertaker. Who else could you go up against? I feel he's done enough, and I like Lesnar, and especially this laid-back cowboy Lesnar who'll go on Pat McAfee. But I just think for the company moving forward, this would be the move. And then the other aspect of it, I'll discuss right after I hear your predictions on the results. So how do you think this match could actually go? And I will be legitimately pissed if Lesnar wins again. I mean, I feel like you need some like real triumphing moment, but this would be the first time since like the 5th grade that I was legitimately offended by the result of a match. Anyways, that's how I see it. What do you guys think of the result or where this is going?
It's interesting that you said what you said about how Roman will have, make his mark because, I mean, let's be honest, Roman Reigns is already the number 1 or 2 guy, depending on if you're a fan of Roman or Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
I could totally see Roman Reigns winning. I think for a lot of reasons that makes more sense. It's also my prediction, by the way. But I have a little asterisk next to this prediction. I have that for a few of them because it's going on the last night. So it's the Sunday, which in fairness, Roman Reigns won the main event last year on Sunday. But to have the bad guy win in the main event of WrestleMania, like the Sunday WrestleMania, that's not typically what they do. It's not. And Brock has been pretty entertaining. As you pointed out, this Cowboy Brock is different. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, he did a whole promo by himself yesterday.
Yeah, I would argue that Roman has not changed as much since last year as Brock has. But, I mean, again, Brock Lesnar is obviously got his very nice contract where he does not work all the time. Roman Reigns does. And so it would make more sense, for a story to keep it on Reigns. And then that way you can move on to the next thing and not have to worry about when is Brock Lesnar coming back. Because the only thing worse than one of your world titles missing when Brock goes back to Minnesota is if both of your world titles go missing when Brock goes back to Minnesota. So I do think it'll be Roman Reigns, but I wouldn't actually be all that shocked if, maybe they did, Roman loses somehow. Maybe the Rock interferes. I don't know. Some sort of Roman, loss, and then at WrestleMania Backlash or something, Roman wins the new world title. You know what I mean? the new one they're gonna inevitably create. So I wouldn't be totally shocked if Roman lost, but I do think that it's more than likely going to be Roman with both titles, and it just makes more sense in terms of the two men, not even the two characters, but the two men. One of them is there every week. One of them is not, so on and so forth. So that's my guess is Roman, but I'm not confident in that guess, actually. Less confident than I thought it would be when the match was announced.
I don't know. I was pretty confident at first with Roman winning, but Ryan, you might have changed my my point of view. I was thinking about it. I was like, Brock has had a lot more of a character arc this year than Roman has. Roman's just been, like you said, Matt God mode and just been running through everybody. And after a certain point, how many more times can you do that? You know what I mean? And if it's Sunday night, might as well let the good guy win. Brock Lesnar wins, or like how Ryan said, the next pay-per-view, they let Roman get either the title back or, they just come up with a new title and let Roman have it. But I don't know. I think it would be interesting to see Roman's character, like how he reacts to taking a loss like that. That would be really interesting. Like, does he completely break down or does he go on this huge rampage again? But I think the safe answer would be Roman.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. That would be cool to see how he reacts to an actual loss. And if he lost clean and then goes 0 for 3 in main events against Lesnar, I think that'd be a cool point. But I guess the other elephant in the room regarding this match, a rumor that has been on for years now, is The Rock. And if he has a chance to go up against his cousin Roman Reigns one last time for a quote unquote true retirement match. As they look right here, Dwayne Johnson turns 50 years old in about 6 weeks. Does he have one final match? He's as hot as ever. Next year's WrestleMania will be in SoFi Stadium in LA, where the Super Bowl was, where The Rock essentially opened the Super Bowl, doing a crazy promo when asked in a tweet about like, what does this mean? What does this imply? He just says, you'll see. And other clues I could give, that WWE Evil series on Peacock, which is really good. In the Roman Reigns episode, they left that episode end with his desire to go up against The Rock, him on the Tonight Show, saying he wants it and everything. So I really think there is a great chance if Roman Reigns goes out on top on the same place where Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Romo failed, but he's on top of that Cowboy Stadium. And you hear, if you smell what The Rock's cooking, and they'll be crazy and sad, like how AJ's 49ers ended their season earlier this year. But also, as I was saying, you hear The Rock's music go down. They do the stare down and stare down. Twitter will stop like they did with the slap heard around the world with The Rock, with Chris Rock and Will Smith. I just think
that was nice. That was nice.
You're just asking for a cool moment if they could pull it off. Give The Rock a year to train, and I just think that would just be cool as fuck in simpler terms. But
Matt,
do you guys feel as giddy I am? What?
Matt, I got one question for you, Matt. Where's your Dwayne picture?
Where is my Dwayne picture?
Not in this studio now that he's in his apartment.
It's an hour and a half away. The one time I needed the most.
You need to get a new one right there. You need to get a new one.
That's a good idea.
Matt, I'm going to disappoint you, I think.
Oh, you're going to burst the bubble?
Yeah, there's not a chance that The Rock is at this year's WrestleMania. There's just simply not a chance that he shows up. Doesn't mean the match won't happen. I'm not saying that he can't be next year's WrestleMania, but on a card that's got Logan Paul. No, I'm serious. Like, you're laughing, and I understand why Logan Paul and The Rock don't sound the same. But just hear me out. Logan Paul, you have Johnny Knoxville. They made a huge deal out of the guy who's going to apparently be doing a concert before both nights of WrestleMania. DJ Khan, which whatever. But they've got a lot of celebrity involvement. Did I say Johnny Knoxville? Because he's there too. So like they have a lot of celebrity involvement in this. They already have a few big returns, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. There's no room for The Rock on this card, on either night of this card.
Even with the Saudi money they bring in, they can just get
no, I'm not saying they can't. I didn't say they can't afford The Rock. They have the money for The Rock. There's no room for The Rock on this card, which is okay. They don't need him to show. They don't need to do the John Cena mold of The Rock shows up and then does, dick all for a year and then wrestles. They can save it for the summer or some other time. And, the build can be a little bit more, natural than what because they've done this in the past where The Rock shows up and calls his shot a year in advance. They don't need to do that. I don't believe that match should be for the championship, though. I think you're wrong about that as well. I don't think he needs to win on Sunday, especially if The Rock doesn't come out on Sunday to have that match. If Roman Reigns versus The Rock is for whatever, amorphous title they have gone Roman Reigns at that time, we already know who's going to win because he might do one more match, but two more matches with The Rock. The Rock is more likely to be president of the United States than wrestle two more wrestling matches. He's not wrestling two. If he does fight Roman, he's almost certainly going to lose, or maybe he'll win, but he's going to go away no matter what. So he's not wrestling two matches. And I don't think having the title on the line in the Rock match isn't necessary. And it kind of shows you who's going to win. Because we know The Rock is not going to defend the title. So unless they want to retire the fake title that they create after they unify the titles, maybe that's what they'll do. They'll create a fake title. Right, just for The Rock to take it and retire with it. But that would be nonsense. So I think that Roman will lose before he faces The Rock. I think that redemption story that AJ was talking about is exactly how you get to Roman versus The Rock. Mm-hmm. After Roman hits his bottom, he trips up finally. He's no longer in God mode. He doesn't take it well, probably. And then The Rock shows up and says, you're no longer in God mode. You're no longer the chief of my tribe. And then they have a fight to prove it. That's what I think will probably happen, but I don't think any of that's going to get set up at Mania. I think they're going to resist the urge because they have so much else going on right now.
Look at that face.
I know. They're just going to tell the story that they've started. The Rock has not appeared in any part of this story. It would be insane for The Rock to show up instantly after the story ends. I think they're going to let this story breathe for a minute. let Roman go back to doing some, more character stuff, because he hasn't done a lot of that in the last year. He's just been building to a Lesnar match for almost like 8 months now.
Yeah, right. That SummerSlam when he came out.
Yeah, no,
it all started
seriously.
then.
They've been doing this for like 8 months, and then COVID derailed it, and then they still found a way to get there.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So
for day one.
So
they were gonna literally do this very match.
This match was supposed to already happen. Like, it's been 8 months to try and to tell this story, to try and jam a brand new story on the back of this, and then wait a year to pay that one off. That takes up so much Roman time. But basically, Roman gets one story a year, and that's all he has. So I think that they're not going to do that. Not at Mania. Okay. I think they're going to do the match. I think that that's a safe bet. But I just don't think that they're going to set it up. So if you're watching Mania for a Rock appearance, you should probably. But also the Chris Rock thing. If Corey Graves doesn't slap the taste out of Byron Saxton's mouth for making fun of Carmella, then I don't even know why we're here. He said the line on commentary last night when Byron said something about Carmella.
I actually missed
get my wife's name out your mouth. He didn't obviously swear, but he said it. Yeah. So if he doesn't stand up and slap one of the other commentators, it's gonna be Byron, because obviously, then I don't even know what we're doing. That has to happen.
Clearly, that's a perfect opportunity there. Oh man, you feel the same way, AJ? You're sorry.
I'm sorry, Matt. When Ryan was talking about how like every possibility on why The Rock is not gonna be there, your face got angrier and angrier. And
they are fair points, though.
You even brought up the Saudi money. You're like, you think you can't afford him? You think you can't afford Dwayne? I'm on the same boat as Ryan, though. Honestly, I don't think The Rock's showing up. I mean, I think he's too busy promoting the Black Adam.
Yeah, he has to get ready for Black Adam. That'll be
he's too busy being a superhero.
The tie-in for the Roman Rock match to promote Black Adam.
But I'm telling you right now, the next podcast, if Dwayne does show up, I already know you're going crazy. You are going crazy.
Oh,
but yeah. At the same time, yeah, I also agree with Ryan. With Roman needs a couple more storylines. I think he's a top dog of WWE. So I think he just needs to see a little bit more fresh storylines.
Oh, word. No, you're for real on that. And bottom line, as you said, Ryan, this has built as long as it can be. And all you can hope for is that this is just a satisfying match, no matter how it ends. And I really think these guys are at their peak of their powers, and we're going to get something interesting. We really will. And then we'll go start the road to next year's WrestleMania. So one thing I said before this that we'll go one by one. I'll actually just start with night one, because it's night two, in my opinion, is just way more interesting than night one. So why don't we just go through night one and then night two, if that's cool?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
And so with night one, and this sucks because they're going against the Final Four. And I mean, it's going to be hard. I'll figure out how to do it, but Duke in North Carolina is at 9:00 at the peak of this. So this is gonna be, they gotta think of something to
we know where the Drew McIntyre and Happy Corbin match is gonna
start. Excuse me. Yeah, they have to figure out how to play that in, but it might help their advantage of some interesting matchups. But yes, right. According to this, the Happy Corbin and Drew McIntyre match, I guess Drew needed some match on this card. It's gonna go him. We'll just start there. Who's winning this match? Is Happy Corbin gonna be sad, and is Madcap Moss gonna be disappointed, and Drew McIntyre will get his sword, and nobody's gonna stop him?
I mean, yeah, probably something ridiculous like that. Apparently, last night on Raw, they said that Happy Corbin is undefeated since changing his luck in Las Vegas. That's, by the way, exactly how they said it. Then they proceeded to have him lose in a handicap match against Drew. So it was Drew and Madcap versus Happy Corbin and Madcap versus Drew, and Drew pinned Madcap. So I guess they're going to pretend that he's undefeated still.
Didn't count.
Because they pinned the other guy. So that's how you get undefeated. But if you look at like the internet's like wrestling math, technically Drew stood tall the night before their match or the go home show, which would mean Happy Corbin's going to win. But no, I think he's just going to lose again. Yeah, because Drew needed something. This is something I didn't realize. I'd like the 9:00 start time for the basketball game. That's probably exactly why this, and there's one other match, and I'll point it out when we get to it, was added to the card. They want to see how much of the basketball game they can fill with like promos and matches they don't care if nobody watches. This is one of those two.
Yeah, I mean, imagine Coach K's final game here. Well, you could have WrestleMania to make you feel better. That's how they'll promote it. You team Drew or you team Happy, AJ?
I'm calling it right now. Happy Corbin wins, takes the sword, invades night 2 and takes both championships.
Unified title.
I knew. I think it's kind of sad how Drew from last year's WrestleMania to this year's WrestleMania, what position he's in on this card. So I call Drew winning, but they gotta do something with him. They built him up to be like a top dog, and then there goes that.
Yeah, the only good news is they're gonna do a make-believe title probably, and maybe he'll win that one.
Give him the 24/7.
Yes,
well, I mean a little more believable than that. A little less make-believe than the current 24/7 championship, but
with the history of Rob Gronkowski,
24/7 title for sure going to happen during the Final Four game.
Oh man. I'm kind of trying to guess who do you think the other is going to be matches that are going to go in the Final Four. Okay. Is it the Usos and Shinsuke and Rick Boogs?
It is not. That's another good contender. It is. I don't want to give any more clues. Actually, I'll give you one more clue. It is a tag team match.
Okay. But at least with this, the bloodline's running strong. But Shinsuke and Rick could be the new team on the block that makes a noise. You think that's the case?
Who else do they have on SmackDown?
They're just gonna have to make up some, just pair people together.
That's what's happening. They play guitar. He plays guitar for them, and now they're a tag team. There's nothing else. There's nothing else to describe that. What's going on? However, I do have them winning.
Really?
In my predictions. Yes, I do. Rick Boogs got like 180 minutes in the Royal Rumble for some reason. And I think the Usos are going to fail when Roman succeeds. So Roman can be an absolute prick to the Usos for like 4 weeks straight. I think we probably get
y'all Jimmy, losers in this family.
Right. We get Jimmy and Jay at some point, not in the near future. This is to set it up before we get The Rock. He's going to run back those awesome matches with Jay. He's probably going to squash Jimmy at once. And that's going to be right before when that happens. That's how you'll know, Matt, that The Rock, if he hasn't already appeared, is waiting in the grass. Okay, waiting in the tall grass for Roman Reigns.
And Matt, I think
that would be waiting next to The Rock. But I think that's probably what's going to go down. They're going to lose. Obviously, to see a lot in Rick Boogs. Shinsuke's always talented, and it gives Roman a new character point or kind of an old one that he's sort of moved on from, but gives him a new character of I hate my cousins, which is perfect because his next big feud will probably be with his cousin. So I think that's setting that up. I do think that they have a really good shot at winning. I did put a little asterisk next to that one because obviously the Usos are the better tag team.
Mm-hmm.
But for now, I'm sticking with knocking Boogs. Hopefully they call him something better than that. But
knocking Boogs.
But I do think they have a really good shot at winning.
I got the Usos winning. I think either way, if Roman wins or loses, it's gonna make a really good dynamic. If the Usos win and Roman loses, like how's Roman gonna deal with that? Yeah, so
that'd be something too, for sure.
They got titles and he doesn't.
Yeah. This is all predicated. I made the big prediction of Roman winning first before I did the rest of the predictions. So when I fantasy booked it, Roman had the title. But yes, that could totally happen.
Yeah. Or
they could all have the title and nothing changes, which probably most realistically what's going to happen. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Hear that. I'm also going to go with the Usos because I just think it'd be better their characters. It'd be pricks who hold titles for now. So why don't we focus on the women really quick? So both women's titles as of now are on night 1. So we'll start with the Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. This match that I don't think has had as much build as I thought it would be, but obviously still a big deal one way or the other. Do we think this legend in the UFC, can she defeat the legend of women's WWE in the last decade in this cross between two big deal wrestlers?
She sure can.
You say Ronda Rousey's winning it, Royal Rumble winner? Ryan?
Yeah. I mean, we know Charlotte Flair is one of my favorite professional wrestlers ever, which does not endear me to other wrestling fans, but I digress. Charlotte Flair is one of the best. She's absolutely one of my favorites. But, I mean, you don't bring Ronda Rousey back to lose to anyone, but certainly not someone who really gets nothing out of beating her. I mean, Charlotte Flair's not going to be a bigger deal for beating Ronda Rousey at all. You know, like a Bianca or someone, a Rhea, yeah, fine. That makes sense to put them over big by getting Ronda one more match. But if Ronda's back and fighting Charlotte, Charlotte doesn't need to beat Ronda. Charlotte doesn't need to beat anyone. So, yeah, no, Ronda's clearly going to win. And that'll be good because Fox is probably losing their world title. So at least they get Ronda Rousey.
Even
for
to
their
self
TV
out.
show.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's pretty easy. You don't bring Ronda Rousey back, make her win the entire Royal Rumble, just for her to lose to Charlotte. Because I don't think Charlotte gets a lot out of this. So I think this one's pretty easy too.
Go Ronda. Get some love with there. Let's go.
I just hope
Ronda.
the match is good. I just really want it to be a good match. I've loved pretty much all of the Charlotte Flair matches, even the kind of boring ones. And I'm nervous that, I mean, Ronda's been out for a little while. She has not had a heck of a lot of matches. She looked pretty good in the Saudi show. So hopefully I'm just, it's like a little nervousness in my stomach and not like, but I'm very nervous that this one's not going to live up to expectations.
Yeah, like I said, maybe that's with the lack of build and whatever, but one way or the other, we're going to see if Ronda holds the gold in the WWE.
Yeah, I wonder why it doesn't have a lot of build.
She's just not around.
Yeah.
She was promoting that appearance on the USA show.
Yeah, 911.
She is such a terrible actor. I've never seen anything she's done that's good. She's awful in the Fast and Furious. She was god awful in the Entourage movie, as if that was gonna, change things.
Charlotte Flair is a bit of an actress herself. She's in all of those Cricket Wireless commercials. Maybe that could be that could be the feud. That's the meta feud in my head.
Actress.
Yeah, it's two actresses going for it.
Who's worse?
Oh, it's definitely Ronda Rousey. She I mean, just terrible actor. My God.
Matt's like, I got my money on Ronda.
Seriously. You also have the New Day going against Sheamus and Ridge Holland with
and
Butch.
You found it. You found the other final 4 tag team match.
They're gonna stretch that one out to see who could go.
Yeah, with any luck, they'll beat Butch so bad he shows up back at NXT with his old name and just pretends the whole thing was a fever dream.
Oh, yes, with Pete Dunne, somebody who's gotten so much love. Now he's Butch.
Yeah.
Isn't that just enough bullshit?
That upsets me.
Vince McMahon must have just watched Peaky Blinders for the first time, and so that's what happened there.
Yeah, they're still doing this many years later, going up against a legitimate, hard-working wrestler that's made a name for themselves in the indies and then just turning them to a complete joke.
Ridge Holland freaking that's mean. He didn't try to, it was an accident. But Ridge Holland dropped one of their top stars on their neck. Name him Butch. He's the one who deserves the shitty name.
Yeah.
We're going to punish anybody here. It should be Ridge Holland, and we shouldn't punish anybody. It was an accident. But still, Pete Dunne does not need to be Butch. It doesn't make sense. It was actually worse than when they changed Walter's name to Gunther for some reason. Because at least that was still NXT. They have a chance to correct it when he gets his main roster call up. But I couldn't believe it when they said Butch, and then they showed him. And I was like, 1, he looks so small with that stupid hat on. And 2, Butch, no last name. Like, even just give him a last name. And then they tried to be
Butch
like,
McPherson or something.
it's something. And then Sheamus was all, you know him by a different name, but we call him Butch. Why can't we all just call him by Pete Dunne? Why do we have to call him Butch? Because you call him Butch.
Yeah, you call him Butch.
You can call him Butch, but can the rest of us continue to call him Pete Dunne? But WWE seems to be on Sheamus's side of that argument. So I guess, that's that.
Yeah, I'm not.
That's that indeed.
Also, New Day's gonna win because Rich Holland dropped Biggie on his fucking neck. So I think the New Day's got that one pretty well in hand.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you.
The next one you have Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio versus The Miz and Logan Paul. Can Lucha Logan pull this off as Dominic wants to gain his respect to get his mask? But yeah, Lucha Logan just hops right in there. Is this a parallel to, something else politically or social? Is this social commentary
on what?
People trying to break the traditions of the Latino, and you just have a white person go in.
I mean, yes, you could make a very good parallel. That's not what they were doing, but that was not their intent. But you could make it if you wanted to add a little extra layer to the story. But they just said, "Look at Logan Paul; he's got a silly mask on." That was mostly what they were going for. There's
some woke person on Twitter gonna figure out that argument there,
perhaps.
But yeah, Logan Paul and The Miz, legit trolls going up against the legendary family. Is there anything to this, or should we just laugh at Lucha Logan's just doing cartwheels with the mask and then pissing off the Mysterios?
Matt, we're gonna go out of order here, Matt. Who do you think is gonna win this match?
Me? I think clearly the Mysterios have to overcome the trolls of The Miz and Logan Paul.
You think that WWE brought in a real life celebrity? And I mean, let's be honest, he's actually one of the bigger celebrities they've ever had.
Of course.
You think they brought in a real life celebrity to lose a wrestling match?
Well, they did let him get Stone Cold Stunnered by Kevin Owens. They didn't have to do that last year.
Yeah, but he was on Kevin Owens' team until that happened, and Kevin Owens won the match.
No, I really do think they'll just somehow convince, maybe with the Saudi money of Logan Paul, hey, just fall down there.
I also do, but this is the last one on night one that I have that little asterisk next to, I believe. Let me see. 1, 2. Oh no, there's another one. I just didn't. We just haven't talked about it yet. So yeah, it's one of the 3 that I have the asterisk next to on night. What's it called? On night one, because it does seem very out of WWE's character to hire or to bring in Logan Paul or anyone really and have them lose the match. I know Miz will be there, and Miz will undeniably probably be the one who does get pinned if they do lose the match. But I do think that that's a little out of character for them, and I wouldn't be totally surprised if they just pinned Dom and then, figure out a story from there.
Interesting. Very interesting. I think I agree with you. I think the Mysterios win, but I hope I just want to see one thing. I want to see Logan oversell every single punch, every single kick.
All the 619s.
Yeah. I hope happens for Matt. I hope Matt just goes, I hope The Rock is there, but not for Roman. I hope he's there for this match. Yeah, I hope he's there for
rock bottom Logan Paul.
Yeah, I hope they waste Rock just for this match, that he comes out and rock bottoms Logan Paul.
I still think that would be epic. Any chance that Jake Paul comes out offering boxing matches with people? Let's have Jake Paul come and ruin the match. Just because.
I don't think so.
They're gonna save Jake Paul for something else.
He'll be in the crowd.
Not gonna do it. Jake Paul's a real fighter now. I should actually, not air quotes. I've defended Jake Paul a lot, and Matt knows because there's always been on his podcast. So I'm not even trying to be rude, but no, in all seriousness, Jake Paul is trying to be a real fighter, and so showing up in WWE, not a good way to do that
until he loses. Like how Ronda Rousey, you have to lose your big match.
Right. Once someone knocks him out, then it's all.
I need that money back.
For grabs. Yeah, but for now, if he's trying to build legitimacy in boxing, and it looks like he is trying to build some legitimacy in boxing, he should stay away from WWE.
All right. So then you're gonna have Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair, where we almost saw an intense moment of the cutting of Bianca Belair's hair, but I guess that didn't happen. Be careful with scissors. But a legitimate match that also has grown since SummerSlam. We have obviously have Bianca Belair just there. Here comes Becky Lynch. You're just gonna drop the title to her. There you go with that heel turn, and now she can obviously avenge that with a WrestleMania win and go back to back.
Can she?
I think it's serious. I think she literally can. It would be best for the character. I'd like to see the change there.
Would it?
The Becky heel turn. But it is badass, but I don't know. But I do think that Bianca Belair should come out on top with this. I think it would be a more endearing story. And, if we are going to have a heel Roman win, do we want to have 2 heel main events back to back?
That's why I asked about Roman winning.
Well, Roman has to win the first one. That's more important. You have Becky
I watched Raw last night and changed my answer.
All right,
I was with you 100%. Again, Roman's going to win. Bianca ends the first night. Everyone, especially me, went absolutely, bananas when she won the main event last year, and now she avenges that loss to Becky. All the good stuff, and then they started introducing the whole haircut thing. And this is the second time. And then 3 weeks ago, they had the whole, she beat Becky with her hair. They brought the hair in early. It wasn't just like a special spot like last year. Last year, the hair was a special spot. They didn't talk about the hair at all until the match happened, and she used it to, get that vicious whip, which sounded cool as hell. This year, the hair came out instantly, and they're trying to cut the hair, and, she's cut Becky's hair. Like, there's all kinds of hair stuff going on. This is going to obviously lead to a title versus hair match at WrestleMania Backlash. The only way that works is if Bianca loses at WrestleMania. I actually have an asterisk next to this, and I'm officially un-asterisking this because I'm very confident, based on the story they told on Monday, that they think that Ronda Rousey winning the SmackDown title is enough of a good guy win from Charlotte to be the good guy who wins the main event of WrestleMania. I think they genuinely believe that people like Ronda Rousey enough. They're wrong in that belief, but they believe this, and that's what they're going to do. I think Becky's going to win, and then Bianca takes the title in like a hair versus title or a hair versus hair match. The hair will play a part in the next part of the story, and that doesn't really work if Becky loses. So Becky's going to be like, I'm going to win my title back and cut your hair. It doesn't make any sense. Unless she just cuts the hair, I guess. They could do that. Becky knocks her out, cuts off her hair, and that's how you keep going. But I think that Becky's going to win at Mania. I'm exceptionally confident in that. Probably more so than I should be, because everything you said is true, Matt, about it'd be a great story, avenges the loss on a huge stage. Everybody loved her last year when she did it. All that's true. I still don't think it's going to happen.
I got Bianca. I think the story only makes sense because last year everybody was pissed, so I think it only makes sense just to have that revenge match. I think this has been building for pretty a long time, but I think the more interesting story is what Ryan said when it comes to the whole hair cutting situation. Yeah, I do believe that. And Monday they did tease that, and I'd be surprised if Becky wins, but
I am going to change my answer if on SmackDown they add a hair stipulation to the match at Mania. Bianca's going to win a hair. Bianca's going to win a hair, some sort of hair match with Becky. So if that happens at Mania, then Bianca wins. No questions asked. But if the match at Mania just remains for the Raw title, then there's a hair match in the future, and Bianca's going to win that hair match for the title, and so she's going to have to lose this title match. So that's I will say that's the caveat. That it's all based around the hair. So if the hair shows up in Mania in the rest of this week, then I change my answer and Bianca wins. I will say that.
Imagine if they did add that stipulation and it was a hair versus title match.
Title or something, yeah.
And then for some reason Becky won, and then the final image of the hair getting shaved off, good night, and then they do their good nights. Like a tragic, sad, like Studio Ghibli movie or something.
All the kids would go home crying.
I might go home crying.
Has there ever been like in the history of WWE like a truly, not the word horrific, but like a truly sad ending to a story that just didn't have
I can only think
like
of one.
like they like just truly ended in sadness? Which one's that?
I think it was I forgot which WrestleMania it was when Stone Cold turned heel on The Rock. And he
Oh,
just started beating. When he started beating him with the chair, and then Vince was in the ring, and then
legitimate violence.
and The Rock just keeps kicking out, and then Stone Cold just keeps hitting him. I feel like that. I feel like when I was a kid, when I watched that, I was like, "All right, I'm going to sleep."
Exactly. Damn, that damn Texas crowd hyped it up though, but it should be more said. You're right. That is a good one. And also the Booker T and Triple H, where Triple H pretty much was being racist towards Booker T, and he just lost.
Yeah.
It
All that
been
build up.
a nice win for a nice win for overcoming racism, and fuck.
Triple H said no.
Well, I don't want to see the removing of Bianca's hair from Becky Lynch. And yeah, I think that you will see, even though we'll record after the last SmackDown. But we'll see where this hair match lies, which is pretty obvious. And then the last match for night one to mention, you have Seth freaking Rollins versus to be announced.
You missed something else as well.
Did I?
Yeah, big one.
Well, I'm just going off the Wikipedia list, but
19 years.
Oh yeah,
2
they did
years
it
ago.
Okay. I'll get it to that right after, but yeah, since it doesn't have, I'm looking at the card that they didn't put that segment in, so that's why I missed it. But on this match, Seth Rollins versus an opponent to be named later, quote unquote, where Mr. McMahon will announce Rollins' opponent on the night of, let's be real, it's Cody Rhodes. Chris Jericho literally leaked it himself that he signed a WWE contract. I think it's pretty obvious he's going to come out. So Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, unless they're going to do some joke where Hornswoggle comes out or something. They say, no, just kidding.
Well, okay. So, no, not Hornswoggle, but I do think it's Cody Rhodes. I actually have Seth Rollins versus mystery opponent prediction. Cody Rhodes wins. That's what I have written down in my notes. So I want to put that out there. However, apparently the match after Royal Rumble, one of the things that got Shane McMahon fired was he was lobbying hard for a Mania match against Seth Rollins. I'm not saying Vince McMahon fired his own son to further a storyline, but if any person ever would fire their own son just to further a storyline, it would be Vince McMahon. And so I hope it's not. I'm so excited for Cody back in WWE. I was excited for Cody in AEW too. I just genuinely like Cody. Mm-hmm. But someone pointed that out to me when I read that, like they showed me what they were talking about. And when I read that, Shane McMahon was genuinely trying to get a match with Seth Rollins. And then you heard all those stories for a while where it's like Cody wasn't so sure and it was taking a while to finish all the details. And I was like, they're not going to do Shane, are they? Like, are they going to do like Shane versus Seth and then Seth wins and then Cody comes out? Like, are we going to have to?
That would be a surprise
match, right? Because I just hope not. I really hope that it's just Cody versus Seth. But I'm nervous because how does that make sense? That Vince McMahon, who is, undoubtedly a rival of Cody Rhodes in real life up until very recently, called someone who he fired, who doesn't like him all that much, and said, hey, want to do me a favor and have a match with Seth Rollins? Please and thank you. I have no one else. And it's, a stupendous WrestleMania. It can't happen without Seth Rollins having a match.
Stupendous WrestleMania.
Stupendous.
And so I'm really nervous that something weird like that's going to happen, where of course he would never call Cody. Like, that would be silly. Why would he call Cody? And then Shane comes out and Shane gets beat by Seth. And, even Seth could be like, this is not really a Mania moment. And then Cody comes out and beats up Seth Rollins to set up a story for after that, which would be a Mania moment. It would get Cody on the card, but it would make the match really bad because Shane McMahon is really bad. Especially now in his advanced age and he can't jump off of everything. So I got very nervous today when someone pointed that out, that Shane McMahon was lobbying hard for a match against Seth Rollins before he got fired. And hopefully they didn't, have a fun idea on how to debut Cody by involving Shane McMahon.
The Messiah, the Architect, the Undisputed Future, Seth freaking Rollins. Honestly, I do think it's Cody as well, but I think a part of me is upset. Not upset, but like I'm a Seth Rollins guy, so I want him to win every match he's in. Right? So
he's not gonna be Cody.
So before it was the whole Cody rumors, I was like, whoever he wrestles, I hope he doesn't take a loss to like some like random celebrity who's just gonna pop in and out. But since the rumors came out with Jericho
Bad Bunny.
Bad
Bunny versus Seth Rollins.
Yeah, I would be pissed. But yeah, if Cody comes out, I wouldn't be too upset. I wouldn't be too upset about that. Because I think I already, unless he doesn't come out with the Smoke and Mirrors theme song.
Maybe, oh no, he's gonna do Down Straight. They paid a lot of money for Kingdom. He's gonna use Kingdom.
Man, wouldn't it be cool out of all the fired wrestlers if they had the Fiend come back with Braun Strowman as a mystery opponent? But that's not gonna happen.
The Fiend
technically could happen. I don't think he's signed anywhere. He's working on that movie that he's doing. So Braun Strowman is doing his Republican wrestling promotion or whatever the hell they're doing.
He has like his own promotion.
So
right?
he's busy.
The Republican wrestling promotion.
Him and EC3 are busy now.
Republican for what?
They're selling supplements. The Alex Jones of wrestling promotions.
What's it? The Donald Trump Television Championship?
No, they have a real. I think they have a real TV deal. I'm not insulting the promotion at all. It's just they're selling supplements.
Sirius XM
they're using
Patriot?
They're using a lot of. No, it's a real. I have to look it up.
They're selling
a real thing. Yeah, but they're doing they're doing the supplements. They have those weird airing of the grievances on every podcast they're on. They're talking about liberating people. It's very strange. The controlling narrative is very strange. But that being said, it's happening. And so Braun Strowman is pretty much out at this point. He's very busy, I would assume.
All right. Well, it's going to be fun to see them. And I guess with the Stone Cold Steve Austin big return, 19 years since he last wrestled. And now
won't
he's
be changing
back.
On Saturday.
But there are so many people had rumors of they're literally going to have a match. It looks like it's going to be a segment. Basically, I'm going to ask you, is this going to just be, hey, man, stop disrespecting me. Stunner, yay, beer, pours beer on him. Texas, Stone Cold goes to the night. Is that how it's going to end?
Yes.
So my prediction, what I wrote down was Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. I didn't put verse. Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. Nothing happens or maybe something does. I have no idea what they're going to do. They've been building this like a match because it's been 19 years since Stone Cold wrestled a wrestling match. I've seen him a number of times on WWE television doing non-wrestling.
And
so I don't know where the hell they got 19 years from if he's going to sit down and do it. He's been on to do his podcast. So he's done these talking things. So I don't know what the heck they think is going to happen. I heard it's going to be the main event. I heard they're ending night one with Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. So, frankly,
Texas,
they have to, at the bare minimum, do a thing where after a bit of a tussle, Stone Cold calls a referee out and pins. Stone Cold is going to have to pin Kevin Owens. And I know it's not a scheduled match, but if they're going to end the night with this, it has to physically be some sort of pinfall. Otherwise, what are we even doing? To end the freaking show
for Texas,
right? Also,
Texas, baby.
I think there's a good chance that JBL and Booker T are in this segment, and probably at least several members of the Dallas Cowboys.
How about this? He gets the Stone Cold Ted Cruz.
I mean, I'd be for it, but I don't think Ted would be into that so much. But no, I think that they do actually have a match. I don't think that's what it's. They're not going to call it a match when it starts. You know what I mean? They're not going to be like the following contest is scheduled for one fall. That whole deal.
It's like
they're
when
going
The
to
Rock
come
had
out.
a match with Eric Rowan.
Yeah, exactly. When The Rock showed up, did his thing, Eric Rowan was there, and they're like, "Call for the match."
Off.
Yeah,
Take my pants off and
I do think it'll go longer than that, though. I don't think that it'll be stunner. Kevin Owens loses. If it was, then honestly, I think Austin Theory would be in this spot, not Kevin Owens. I do think that Kevin Owens is going to beat up Stone Cold a little bit, and I do think that that's when the rest of the Texans show up to defend the home state from the evil Canadian. But I do think it's going to technically be a match at the end. Like someone's going to get pinned, and it's going to be Kevin Owens. So I'm going to say Steve Austin wins, even though it's totally possible they just have a nice chat and then leave.
Just like the festival of friendship.
Yeah, the airing of grievances is like a Festivus. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it's a match as well. But if it is a match, please let's not have another Sting moment 2.0 here. If Stone Cold can't wrestle and do these crazy things, Kevin Owens, don't do them. You know what I mean? Like
Sting
would
like a word with you, AJ. Sting is jumping off of ladders. Sting is falling from great heights.
Yeah, he proved me wrong.
Sting is not as fragile as we think. Okay, it was one bad move. And if Stone Cold can't do it, then he should leave and let Sting do it. I'm not interested in Stone Cold just, grabbing a beer after stuttering Kevin Owens. It doesn't help Kevin Owens. It certainly isn't the main event of the show at that point.
It basically buries Kevin Owens.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Stone Cold's going to have to get hit in the face a couple times.
Does Texan Mark Calloway make an appearance?
I mean, that would be overkill. I think JBL suffice.
AKA The Undertaker.
Yeah, I think that's overkill, but maybe.
He was supposed to be in the Saudi show in some capacity, right?
What if Sting comes out and then all you hear is the Undertaker music?
I mean, Sting has proven he can still do it. So actually, this is all Undertaker's fault.
Never was able to do it. Well, that's a good transition with night 2. So obviously we talked about the main event, but where should I start with this? With Queen Zelina and Carmella going up against Sasha Banks and Naomi, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan and Natalya and Shayna Baszler all gonna collide at once. Which one of these teams where they figured out, all right, here's a way to get our prominent women by having them all tag up with each other? It was almost like they literally play tag. You go with you go with you, like when your gym teacher in elementary school made partners. How are we feeling about this match?
What is Sasha Banks doing in this match?
I don't know.
Genuinely speaking, main evented last year. In this match last year, it was Tamina. I'd also like to point out that this match happened last year, and a bunch of the same people are in it, and they're all with different partners.
Yeah, that's
Natalya was in it with Tamina, but now she's in it with Shayna, who was in it with Nia. Liv was in it with probably Ruby Riott or someone like that. Now she's in it with Rhea, who was probably in it with Nikki ASH. I don't remember. Naomi was in it. I'm sure she had a partner. Probably Carmella. Like, what is going on?
They pressed the shuffle button.
Match. Yeah, the same match we saw last year, except for they moved everyone around and they made Sasha Banks do it for some reason.
Yeah, this is practically a throwaway match. I like I said before, I thought I saw it too, but then you just confirmed to me, Ryan, that we have seen it before. We have
a very similar version of this match we've seen before. And also, I feel like it's weird. So, like, I can't use the metaphor I was going to use, so I'm going to use training wheels instead. Like, each one of these teams is like someone to like prop up the other person. So Shayna Baszler is propping up Natalya, which is sad, but it's true. Rhea Ripley is propping up Liv Morgan. In terms of popularity, not in terms of in-ring skill or anything like that, but in terms of like carry. We care way more about Rhea Ripley than we do about Liv Morgan, although that's actually questionable at this point. You got Sasha Banks, obviously the ultimate prop for the whole match, but also for Naomi. And then I guess Carmella and Queen Zelina. No one's propping. I couldn't care less.
Just for their team, for their reality show.
If they didn't show up, I guess Carmella's propping up Queen Zelina just because she's on TV now. But, I mean, I could if they didn't show up, I don't think I'd even notice. And they're the champions, by the way.
Yeah,
current champions. If they didn't show up and the other teams fought and then they handed the winner the belts, I don't think I would even necessarily catch that.
It's like they went on WWE 2K characters and just pressed randomize teams.
It's insane. And it's horrible that, I mean, I guess Shayna's been in this division for a pretty long time. So as much as I like Shayna Baszler, I think I have to just admit that, she's a tag team specialist for the main roster. But Rhea Ripley, Naomi, and Sasha Banks in particular,
you could have just had their own.
You could just have that make a triple threat for no reason.
Just do it.
That would be way more entertaining than what we're going to
get. Yeah. Where do I go from here? The Bobby Lashley and Omos match clearly made on the spot. Nice to see Bobby Lashley come back from his concussion. Do we see this being significant in any way? Do we see
Omos is going to be the former world champion, right? So I guess that's significant.
So you say Omos is going to beat Bobby Lashley?
Yeah. What else are they going to do?
Yeah, Bobby Lashley.
Would you almost beating two people at a time to lose to Bobby Lashley? Why does that matter?
Bobby Lashley, because he came back and he shows that you can come back from a concussion and win matches. That's the story.
If they just kept Bobby, if Bobby was the next big guy, right? If they were setting him up for something big when he got back, he'd come back to Raw after Mania and insert himself in the world title saying, I never lost, because it's true. He didn't. And don't get me wrong, he's going to lose to Omos and he's still going to say that. But
anyway,
they didn't need to do that. They didn't need for him to be back for Mania to beat Omos and then be like, I never lost my title. Well, yeah, you never lost your title beforehand too. So, that's just, Omos song slaps. So that's pretty cool. His theme song.
Yes.
Real good. Shake the Ground is the name of it. It's one of the new guys that they just hired did it. So that'll be cool. Hear that in a big stadium. Maybe he'll get a cool entrance, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I don't see a reason why Bobby would win. If he does, I won't be mad. But I don't know. Maybe how did he get a concussion again?
From the day one from the Elimination Chamber. And
oh yeah, you're right. So yeah, I guess they can put him over, but this is most definitely an almost squash match. So
guess he needed a paycheck.
It is what it is.
A WrestleMania paycheck.
He came back just in time, right? He's still with MVP, right?
Well, he wasn't last night, but MVP is on the match graphic. So probably
maybe he missed it. He was in the bathroom.
Yeah, it's the bathroom. But this match also, the big thing was no one could take Omos off his feet, and it's not that big a thing because they didn't mention it until last night. And then they immediately took him off his feet last night. So unless Bobby wins, it's similar to how they're like, Happy Corbin has never lost, loses, and like, well, still wasn't pinned. Omos has never been taken off his feet. Taken off his feet. Well, he still hasn't been pinned. He hasn't
been pinned.
Yeah, so it's obviously not really. I mean, Bobby's gonna lose, which is stupid. They should have left him off. This could have been anybody. You've got both your mid-card champions are not on this show.
WrestleMania. Where's Finn Balor? Isn't he United States champion?
Yep, and Ricochet is Intercontinental champion.
They don't want to put him on.
They're both wrestling on the WrestleMania SmackDown. But you know what? Omos is crushing two fools at a time. Finn and Ricochet versus Omos handicap match. Why not? It's better than wasting Bobby Lashley on losing to Omos. Because frankly, as soon as the next 7 foot whatever person comes around, they'll fire Omos and do everything they're doing with him.
When Taco Full comes to WWE.
Because Omos is not good. So he's there because he's tall. And the next time there's a tall person, and I shouldn't say he's not good, actually. I really like him in the ring until he does wrestling. He's really good otherwise. Like his look is good. He's menacing. He's got all that stuff down. When he was AJ's muscle, perfect. It was hysterical when he was tossing fools. But now that he's got to wrestle matches himself, He's been pretty bad at that, and it's a big part of being a professional wrestler. So I don't know, but maybe he's actually better than we give him credit for. I mean, in fairness, his last opponent was freaking Commander Aziz or whatever. So it's not like, he's not working with the best of the best. And maybe Bobby will, carry him to a really good match, and he'll show something that I don't think he can do. But I think I'm right, and I don't think he can do it.
I think you bringing up those two champions not being on the card, I think it made me realize, why didn't they put Almost with the champion Bobby? Like, I'd rather see Bobby versus Ricochet. Honestly, right. if I'm being honest, in any of these matches.
Or Bobby versus Finn.
Yeah. Because we've already seen that before too with Demon Finn.
What about this?
So there's history.
We fire Almost and have Finn versus Ricochet.
That literally would be a great match.
That'd be a great match. We shouldn't fight. I don't want anyone to lose their job. That's horrible. But he doesn't need to be in the
stay home.
But Almost could easily won his little Andre thing on Friday. The Andre the Battle Royal would make perfect sense. Yeah. You get to stand there, you do this, and you stand next to that trophy, and it would have been fine. He didn't need a Mania match. He doesn't need it right now. He's not good enough for it right now, and he's still working on it. And maybe it will change. Braun Strowman was kind of shitty when he started, and then he got really good. Like they gave him good storylines. He was either improved in the ring, or maybe he was always that good. We just never saw it. But either way, the matches got better. So I'm not saying it can't happen, but right now Almost has no business in a Mania match.
When they couldn't even do something funny with it.
When Finn Balor and Ricochet, who are currently champions, don't have a Mania match, Almost has no business having a Mania match.
Yeah, that's true.
Somebody got paid under the scenes.
No, I don't think it's like that. I think it just... He's really tall, and they like that. Yeah,
he's just really tall. One thing, Ryan, the funny things that these two guys have said are on the record saying this. This is a really random note that hopefully maybe happens at next year's WrestleMania or something, where we have podcasters, Big Cat and PFT commentator from Barstool's Part of My Take say they want to be WWE refs. That should have been the match. You could have them ref Almost versus Bobby Lashley.
That would be awesome.
I mean, listen, I know they said referee, and I get they said referee. I think you have the pardon. What is it?
Part of My Take.
Yeah, Pardon My Take guys versus Almost. That's a good match.
Or the Jackass crew.
Right. Well, no, he's busy. We don't need them.
He's a no.
No, we don't need Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn, and then everybody else gets Almost. We don't need that. But yeah, seriously, get the Barstool guys to fight Almost. The match is not going to be good no matter who he's in the ring with. So at least then people will watch to see the Barstool guys get tossed by a 7-foot wrestler. That'd be awesome.
That would just be what Braun did with Michael Che
exactly.
And Colin Jones. The Weekend Update guys.
I loved every second of that. Everyone else booed, but I don't care.
One thing
I don't care. I wonder how many things Vince looks at when he's watching. He's like, everybody's booing. I don't care.
I don't care. Probably most. I mean, if you watch most of it, right? But I just think that
doesn't care.
The match is going to be bad no matter who he's in there with. So this is one of the spots where a celebrity would have actually done some good. Would have made sense if Logan Paul got put through the freaking barricade by Almost. Instant face turn. Instantly a baby face. That's number one. Number two, it won't matter that the match was bad because you didn't watch it to see a good match. You didn't care if any of the people involved had a good match. You just said, oh, this is something they're doing to get, ESPN to cover, or, E to cover, or whatever, USA Today to cover it. And it's fine. But Bobby Lashley deserves a good match, like a real match. And Finn Balor and Ricochet deserve to be on the show to have a good match. So when you have that issue, it almost doesn't make sense. When you have those two people not on the card at all, and when Bobby Lashley is going to do the job for Almost, it just doesn't fit.
Yeah. Damn you, Almost. Damn you. But transitioning.
Not his fault. He's doing what he's told, but.
Yeah, that. Transitioning, though, you have Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn in an anything goes match. The star of Jack.
DQ, right?
What?
I'm assuming that means no disqualification or no holds barred, because anything goes is not a real match type. So,
Sure.
that
Let's
I've ever heard of anyway.
Yeah, the anything goes, no hold bar match.
Right.
Weapons can be used. So you have, the star of Jackass Forever, Johnny Knoxville, now available on Paramount Plus. You have
Are they a sponsor?
they should be, trust me, soon. But anyways, Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. Do you think this is over under 10 minutes? Are they just gonna beat the shit out of each other? Is Steve-O gonna come out and hit him with a coast to coast?
That might happen, yeah.
Is Bam Margera gonna be redeeming himself and helping him saving Johnny Knoxville? I don't know. Where do we see Johnny Knoxville taking this
story? All you see is Bam come out of nowhere and save Johnny.
I
would go crazy.
I think he should turn on.
Crazy.
I think Bam should help Sami Zayn win.
He'll turn for Bam.
He'll turn from Bam. Yeah. He'll turn from Wee Man.
That's even
too.
better. That's even
if
better.
Bam can do it. Wee Man. He'll turn from Wee Man.
Oh man! But where do we see this match go? Is it just gonna be a funny gimmick match and just?
Yeah.
Let me ask.
A lot of bumps.
Do we think there'll be an epic meme moment from this match?
I mean, no. What do you mean epic meme moment?
Like
Chris Rock getting slapped? No.
Like, yeah, is there going to be Johnny?
No.
Look at Johnny Knoxville.
They'll meme
Sami
something.
Zayn
Yeah. They'll meme something. They'll meme something.
Something's going to be a meme.
But not like that. Well, it's not going to permeate the culture.
Why don't we go to a more serious match then with RK Bro, Randy Orton and Riddle against the Street Profits, Angelo Dawkins, Montez Ford, and the Alpha Academy. What a tool name. Chad Gable and Otis. Do we see this having any legitimacy? This triple threat match for the Raw tag team titles. Are we going to see the RK Bros break up? They're really hot right now.
First, what we have to talk about is whether or not Alpha Academy will even be in the match. They missed Raw. They were pulled from Raw last minute last night. And there's been no reports as to why.
Not part of the show.
Not part of the show. They were supposed to wrestle against Street Profits, and they were clearly supposed to be in the last segment when it was the Usos versus RK Bro. They weren't in either. They canceled the Street Profits match, and then the Street Profits did what was likely supposed to happen with Alpha Academy, which actually made it a cool story. So if Alpha Academy just had like a weird, like their plane got delayed or something, then it actually, I think, could have even helped it, because Street Profits essentially turned heel last night, and they've been cutting like these more aggressive promos anyway on Raw. They're kind of teetering the line. RK Bro, of course, the good guys, everybody loves them. Like you said, super hot right now. Alpha Academy also doing really well, but I mean, clearly the bad guys. Chad Gable's never been a good guy on television. So they're clearly the bad guys, and Street Profits have been in this weird, like, they're really aggressive in the middle. I honestly think that they have a really good shot now of winning these titles. Because of that. Yes. But because Alpha Academy was not there, the run-in that was more than likely supposed to be the Alpha Academy interrupting the Uso match ended up being the Street Profits, which was very out of character. And then they got beat up by Randy Orton, which also kind of made him look a little bit like tools. But for my money, this is a really interesting match. Should be very good. I don't think we're going to see the full explosion of RK Bro at Mania, because again, we've talked a lot about all of the heels who are going to win these matches in really prominent spots. And RK Bro, they've been main eventing Raw pretty consistently the last 3 months. Yeah. They've been the ones to send the fans home happy, like in the final segment of the night, a lot, because they're really popular right now. And so especially if they're not going to win the match, and I don't think they necessarily will, you don't want it to end with an RKO. Maybe maybe WrestleMania Backlash, they have one more try against the Profits one-on-one, and they can't get it done, and that's where the breakup happens, right?
It's a no bro moment.
Exactly. Yeah, no bro. Oh, bro.
Bro.
And then again, Profits are not fully bad guys, so no one's going to be like really upset if the Profits win versus like Alpha Academy, who again clearly have been bad guys for months. So I think, for my guess, it's going to be Street Profits win, setting up them versus RK Bro one-on-one or tag team, you know what I mean, for WrestleMania Backlash.
I think this could be the best tag team match on the card.
Oh, it is.
In my opinion, because I feel like all three tag teams. I'm not fully invested in all three tag teams, but they're all really good. Like they all have really good wrestling. Like they all wrestle differently. Like I feel like Alpha Academy wrestles differently than Street Profits and Street Profits with RK Bro. I think it's just their decision if they either want to send us home happy with RK Bro winning or show us little cracks in them and make them lose to. I'd probably say the Alpha Academy if I were to pick, because I can't see Street Profits walking out with this, unless maybe Alpha Academy did something backstage, like how Ryan was saying before, why they got taken off air. Then I could probably see Street Profits getting a win.
So legitimate stakes coming out of this. And this is what's cool. This could go either way, and there's definitely no complaints on that one there. So good stuff. So the match that I legitimately, it's the match I'm second most excited for, with Pat McAfee going up against Austin Theory. This is cool. So far, it's a singles match, but I thought for a second it might have been no DQ. Did I mishear that? Did I have a Freudian slip? Or
I didn't hear that.
Reverse Freudian sleep. All right, but so it's going to be a straight up regular match. Vince McMahon chose Austin Theory as the guy you're going up against, Pat McAfee. You know, Austin Theory, he's very hot right now, getting a lot of steam, sending out the thirst trap pictures, you know, doing him. And then it gets Pat McAfee, who's had a lot of acclaim since joining the WWE. Who's proven he can wrestle before. He won the Pro Wrestling Insider's Rookie of the Year, I believe, right? Or Best New Star, like some magazine.
I think Best
Maybe,
Star,
yeah. I don't know that, but that seems. I mean, I watched those matches. I would not have picked him as the Best New Star.
Yeah, he says right here, according to this Wrestling Observer newsletter, Rookie of the Year 2020.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have done that personally. Not that his matches weren't good, but 2020 AEW. I mean. Granted, maybe those people are not technically new stars. Maybe they've been on MLW or NWA. And so Dave Meltzer, who follows it way more closely than I do, maybe he knew like Sammy Guevara. Mm-hmm. But for my money, 2020, all of the AEW new guys, you know, Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, MJF, which I guess
Pat McAfee won.
Yeah, no. If they were also in contention, Pat McAfee doesn't make any sense.
But with here, do we see the new star? Vince McMahon personally has given a lot of faith in this superstar. Are they going to give him the win? Or are they giving Pat McAfee, you know, obviously a mega podcaster and media personality, voice of SmackDown, fan favorite in all aspects of life?
I think Michael Cole would like to have a word with you about the whole voice of SmackDown business, but I digress. Continue.
But you know what I mean. Anyways, Pat or Austin? What do we think? I'm going with Pat, obviously. That I think it'd just be cool. Great for the brand. That would as a must listen to Pat McAfee show the next day, where he tells his boy Evan Fox and AJ and the crew there, the other AJ. But we have AJ the man. That's just
we got
AJ
our
Hawk.
AJ now.
But he tells his crew, "Yo, look what I did last night, guys." But I
got McAfee too.
Cool.
Yeah, it's got to be Pat McAfee, right?
Yeah.
How does he beat him? Does he beat him in a clean wrestling move?
Punk kick.
What do you?
Punk kick.
Oh, okay, that could be it. He used that on Adam Cole. That was a finishing move for him. Yeah.
It's got to be that.
The man kicked off a Super Bowl. Now he's going to kick off Austin Theory's head.
I could be wrong about this. He didn't actually win both of his matches.
To win Rookie of the Year?
Well, it doesn't matter. But he had 2 matches in NXT, and I don't believe
it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I don't believe he won the second one, or maybe he didn't win the first one.
I don't remember. I don't think he beat
Adam
Cole. Yeah,
I think they won War Games when it was Pete Dunne and those other 2 British guys who I don't know the name of, and Pat McAfee versus Undisputed Era. I believe Undisputed Era lost that one, but I think when it was 1-on-1 McAfee and lost. Cole, McAfee did lose to Cole.
So according to the Internet Wrestling Database, instead of IMBD for movie database, it's IWD.
Yeah,
he is 0 for 2.
He lost both those matches.
Has a 100% losing percentage.
Oh, he's definitely
got to win. Yeah, he's got to win.
He hasn't won.
I thought he won. I thought he won War
year.
Games,
and he's rookie of the year.
Yeah, I thought he won War Games. I knew he lost to Adam Cole 1-on-1, which was actually a decent match. But I thought they had, because other wrestlers were there. I thought they gave him the win at War Games.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I am just so psyched for that match.
It'd be cool to see how Austin Theory does. To be honest with you, this is a really big responsibility because like I said, McAfee did well, but he can't do it himself. He has very limited moveset. It's a very cool moveset that he's clearly worked on and gave a lot of thought to. But all of the middle stuff that you have to do to make a real wrestling match, especially a Mania-worthy wrestling match, he's not necessarily full there. Now, he's been training, so who knows? He might actually even be better than last time you saw him. But Austin Theory will probably have to do a lot to build this match, and that's a lot of responsibility. So even in a loss, if this ends up being a good match, that's a major props to Austin Theory. He's probably in line to take the title off of Finn at that point. If this is a good match, I think he's definitely the next US champion, because he'll have proven that he can wrestle with anybody.
It's going to be fun. And then the last match we'll talk about, one that is very, very interesting to see how they do this, and just a match between two legitimate living legends and well-respected superstars, Edge versus AJ Styles. I'll throw it to you guys. How do we see this epic match going with some legitimately entertaining promos? We, like I said, just the first time AJ and Edge, I believe, are the first time they're ever going to go have a one-on-one match in the ring. People liked it when they faced off in the Rumble, even though he dislocated AJ Styles' shoulder. Didn't mean to laugh at that, but that is what happened last time. But legitimately, two of the best at it at a WrestleMania. Can't ask for anything better than that. So where do we see this going? And how have you where we see this going, and how have you the build? Because I think that is something second.
I can answer the second part. I like the build. I was skeptical when they turned Edge proper heel and they gave him the new theme, although it's a decent theme, so that helps.
They took away Metal Guinness. How do you pronounce that word?
Well, yeah, they took Metalingus. They took
Metalingus. Wow,
same band though. Alter Bridge is still who does the theme song, or maybe that's reversed. Maybe that's the band and Alter Bridge was the theme song. I'll have to look at that.
Okay. But
either way, same artist, different song. And they kept the "You Think You Know Me" bit, so that's good. But I honestly, I almost see it he's almost doing his own little Chris Jericho thing. What Jericho's big thing is always that whenever he shows up, it's never the same Chris Jericho. Once or twice he came back as the same Chris Jericho. But whenever Chris Jericho shows up, really shows up, and it's going to be around for a little while, he's always a different Chris Jericho. So whoever you saw at the end, that guy goes away. When he leaves your television screen, be it for a break or to go on tour with Fozzy or to start a new wrestling company, the guy who shows up next time is totally different. And if he ever went back to WWE, same thing would happen. But even in AEW, has even gone away and he's gone through 4 characters. So Edge is kind of doing that, and I think it's
see that in the Brood and everything.
Well, yeah, he started by doing all the Brood stuff, but then he did the grit thing, which I wasn't a huge fan of. But you can't say it wasn't different. It was. Mm-hmm. It's not something that he'd ever really gone through before. And now the new entrance, the new look, the new attitude. I really think that Edge is showing that he's here for a while and wants to be taken almost he wants to be put in serious contention. He's not the novelty act anymore of, oh, look, Edge is back, because that will get old. Even not for me, Edge is my favorite wrestler ever. But for other people, Edge will get old. Eventually be all right, fine, Edge is back. We get it. So he's changing because I think he genuinely wants to be taken seriously as a current performer. He wants to leave a mark in today's landscape, not a nostalgia pop.
Great to hear that.
And so I've liked the build. I was a little bit disappointed when they, changed his character so much, but I think it's ultimately for the better. And I do think it puts the winner of this match in question. So much so that I put on my actual prediction, Edge versus AJ Styles, ending in double countout. I don't think
at
they're
WrestleMania.
going at WrestleMania, and I think it's going to be a long match. So for people, it's not going to be a quick double countout. I think it's going to be them beating the living crap out of each other at ringside and then just not getting back in the ring. Just continue to hit each other. The match ends. They're going to do a post-match beatdown, and that's going to set up they're going to run it back at WrestleMania Backlash, Falls Count Anywhere, or Last Man Standing, or something like that to give it some more stakes. I really don't think that either one of these guys should lose at WrestleMania. Whereas before, I was like, yeah, okay, Edge is the nostalgia guy. He typically comes back and loses these big matches, and then he'll win every once in a while on like a B show with his wife or whatever against The Miz to, keep his credibility up. But I don't, and I thought that was what's going to happen this time. AJ is going to get a nice win after doing all of that, wonderful work for Omos. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think this is a serious rivalry. Both people have shown that they're serious competitors still, which makes sense. Edge is, Edge, and AJ Styles is the best wrestler ever. So I think they're going to do some sort of non-finish. They're going to try and make it as good as possible. And I know people are still going to hate it, but I think it's going to lead to a stipulation match at WrestleMania Backlash. And maybe when that new title gets crowned, Edge is going to be in line to start that thing up, to give it some instant credibility by having whatever the new championship is, being the inaugural champion. I think that's something that could happen. And it could happen after Edge beats AJ at the next pay-per-view, but I really don't think either person can afford to lose at Mania. So I'm going to say double count out. I'm not picking a winner.
Okay.
So
double count out, not picking a winner. And I'm just going to go with AJ Styles winning it. I think, as you said, this dude really made a sacrifice almost a year of his entire career while he's still killing it out there to grow Omos, who can't fall down. But I think this would be I think it'd be a well-respected matchup, like that Kurt Angle, Shawn Michaels WrestleMania match type of just two at it one-on-one, and it will lead to AJ being victorious. That's how I see it.
I'm not sure, guys. I'm not sure. I think this is the only match where I'm like not 100%. Like I don't know who's gonna win this match. Like it's kind of while you guys are talking, you guys both have great points on each side. I don't know.
Why does Edge win? Why does Edge win then? Tell us why Edge wins. That way we've heard all three.
I think Edge comes. I think every time Edge comes back, he's always interesting. He's always interesting. He's on television. He's always reinventing himself, like how you said with Chris Jericho, like how he does. I don't think a lot of people can do that. I think only a certain amount of talent can do that. And I think Edge is one of those. And I feel like he beats AJ Styles, and then guess what? I think whoever, or if there is another champion on Raw, who's there? Brock Lesnar's not going to be there all the time, And if Edge beats AJ, I don't think Edge is just going to go away for the next couple months too.
You know what I realized? We haven't seen an Edge Brock Lesnar match since even Lesnar came back. That's one.
Who's you have to in all seriousness though, who's like clamoring for Edge versus Brock Lesnar?
Us. No, that's really. Why we'll start.
I'm not.
We'll start it. We'll start the torch right here.
I'm not though. Like it's weird because you talk about dream matches, and I know that's kind of morphed into popular wrestlers fighting, but I've got no actual interest in seeing Edge versus Brock.
Are you nervous he would beat him? Instead of the Suplex City?
It's not a matter of who wins or loses or anything like that. It's just I don't see them doing that great in the ring right now. They're wrestling very different styles. They're both kind of older. Like they it'd be one thing if it was something that I was sure was going to produce a really good match, but I think it could just be like a fine wrestling match. And given all of the other context of, they could do so much more with other people. Like, I'm not that Brock always needs to fight the biggest dude. I mean, Brock and Finn have done some good stuff. Brock and Daniel Bryan was amazing, although Daniel Bryan is right up there with AJ Styles in terms of the best wrestlers ever. But I just don't think that match would produce, other than the hype, the promos and the video package and the entrance, like the pomp and circumstance between two massive stars like that, of course, would be, bonkers. But once the bell rang, I don't think that match would live up to the expectations people would put on it. I don't think those two should fight. Like maybe, in a while, if they're still kicking and they're like, what are we going to do with Edge and Brock? Both of them are, not doing anything. Then sure, do it. But I think they're both so popular right now, and neither one of them, I think, would put a good match on with the other. So let them do matches with people who are going to put good matches on with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let Edge have these people.
Yeah. That you saying that made me think. I was like, yeah, there's some matches where I think it does depend on how old they are, I think so. I think someone like AJ though, I think you put them in any timeline, like anywhere against any wrestler, and it's a good match. Like I was thinking about, I'm like, is there anybody you can put AJ against and it's a bad match? And I have trouble thinking about it. Besides,
Goldberg,
like, of course, yeah, Goldberg, yeah.
Goldberg could be hard. I don't know if they fought. I honestly don't remember, but that's probably a clue right there. You would remember Goldberg versus AJ Styles if it happened. You would think, but
yeah,
I don't think that would be a good match. I don't believe that he could make a good match happen with Goldberg.
Sounds like a Saudi matchup, Goldberg versus.
Oh, I mean, yeah. If the crown,
Goldberg is Saudi. Goldberg.
If the Crown Prince says he wants Goldberg versus AJ Styles, you best believe that there will be a Goldberg.
I want to see,
but I don't think it would be a good match. But I mean, there's been some real stinkers on that show. The crowd doesn't care. The Prince doesn't care. So why should we care?
On that note, Ryan, seriously, that was good. That was really good. This was an awesome show, guys. We'll now digest this weekend, take it all in. Is there anything I missed regarding WrestleMania or this? No John Cena going to come out as the Peacemaker?
Probably not.
I wish.
Or Batista? No, nothing.
Probably not.
I don't think so. No.
This card is stacked, Matt. What are you doing?
I just love the idea of just putting.
Matt's like, I want more big names. Where's Dwayne?
What is this?
Where's Bad Bunny's
Stone
match?
Cold is coming back for the first time in between 19 and 3 years, depending on the timeline you follow. So
Dwayne and Bad Bunny. Is that what you just said, Matt? I heard that.
Yeah, let's get that.
Only if Bad Bunny goes over. Only if Bad Bunny goes over.
A returning Cesaro.
Well, I mean, you don't let him leave if you're going to have him return at WrestleMania.
Exactly, man. Well, I'll see you guys after this incredible WrestleMania weekend, and we'll have it ready for you. Tune in on Tuesday to see our reaction to the most stupendous WrestleMania of all time. Thanks again, Ryan and AJ, the man, Anthony Fernandes. Appreciate you all, and have a great night, and we'll see you.
Have a stupendous night, Matt.
You're right. On stupendous night, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday. All right, have a good one.